guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to do a review on the Litchitree Dual Brush Pen set. Now I'm going to start off by saying that this set was given to me for free by the company, and I've had this set for a couple of weeks now, and it gives a very, very good first impression, and I'm going to show you why. Well, it comes wrapped up in this little cardboard. The packaging is beautiful. I have no complaints about the packaging. In fact, the only reason I accepted this set at the beginning was because I knew, number one, the packaging was great. Whenever I get offered a product, and I get offered them quite frequently, I do research into it before I even accept it, because there's an implied pressure. When you have a free product, the company is going to get a good review. Now, I've been around the block for a while, and I know how these things work. This company contacted me, and the first thing they were talking about is they wanted a free video, and they wanted to send me this set. And I was like, hold your horses, let me take a look. And I went on Amazon, I read everything I could possibly read about this product. And from their Amazon ad, it looked pretty decent. When I looked at the set on there, I knew how this opened up. I knew there was 132 pens in there, and they were beautiful to look at. It opens up into this gorgeous array of colors, and mine are out of order now. My first impression of it was really good. To top it all off, their brush, which means they have the brush end, and they had a really nice fine liner. Now, I'm always looking for good fine liners. I have markers. I have the alcohol markers. But fine liners are really nice to have. So immediately I knew I was going to have two really big pros going for this set. Beautiful packaging, great selection of brush and fine liner. When I got it in, I opened it up. I didn't do an unboxing. I was standing in the kitchen with my daughter, and I was like, look at these markers. And we opened up the box together, and she read the package, because we do read packaging. Everything counts. And it said watercolor, acid-free, light, fast, fade-proof. Wow, that's a pretty good deal. Watercolor, acid-free, light, fast, fade-proof. Now here comes the cons. And I just want to say that some people may give in to doing reviews that are geared more towards the vendor. I don't do that. I protect you as a consumer. I'm an influencer. My name is associated when I recommend a set. I'm a little bit disturbed when I see a review and recommendation when I don't see any backup proof. The funny thing about this company, and I got to say the vendor is very honest. More honest than the packaging. Because when I asked her something, she just came out with the truth. And while this says watercolor, these are not watercolor markers. And they're not going to act like watercolor markers from day one. These are plain old children's water-based markers. I'm going to show you the difference between a watercolor marker and a water-based marker. So this is a good time for me to actually do a lesson on markers and what's available out there and what to watch out for. And this is a perfect example of what to watch out for. I knew that something was going to be a little bit off on quality on this set when they also started talking me into advertising for them the Brettfunner set. Not the 500, the 180. And I started to laugh. I'm like, oh, a company that's selling Brettfunner and selling these. These are not by Brettfunner. In fact, the vendor owns an air conditioning parts company. I research everything down to the vendor, and they're not Litchitree, okay? And then there's another name on it. Now follow this. Talk about the China chain of command. The Amazon brand is Laconile, Laconile. The pictures are from Bojangten, Bajotien. So that's who took the pictures. That's probably who originally made this setup. And now the company that produced these are also selling them to other vendors. Where did we hear that one before from the Chinese markets? They restamped them, Litchitree. They actually put a German address, which this is probably the address of the original people who made this set up. And either they didn't sell, they didn't pay for, or whatever, but this third company got a good deal on these, and they bought them. And this arbitrage is like rampant on Amazon. There's nothing really wrong with it. The company got a good deal. This air conditioning company got a good deal on some markers, and they threw them up there. There's a chain, and we've talked about this. So this company that is selling it is not producing these markers. In fact, there are so many of these markers on there. If you just look around, you're going to find them all over the place, except these markers are not marked watercolor. They're marked water base. Now, if this company had come out and put on here water-based marker and then something about the water-based marker, I would have nothing bad to say about this company. Well, and I'm not talking about the company that's selling it. I'm talking about the company that just produced this. I would have nothing bad to say about them because this is a good children's set, except it's a little bit expensive and I wouldn't give it to my kids. Because water-based markers are good for bullet journaling, writing, keeping a marker in your bag. They're not good for art. Now we're going to talk about acid-free, light-fast, and fade-proof. These are water-based markers, not alcohol markers. Water-based markers fade, sometimes within weeks of putting it down. They're your children's markers. They're those Crayolas that the kids could stick in their mouth and you don't have to worry about calling up poison control. They're harmless, non-toxic, great for kids. Except for these, I wouldn't give this to a kid because, honestly, the age group is going to forget to put the caps on very quickly and this set's going to dry out. I wouldn't give this to a student. They're advertising it's good for students. I wouldn't give this to a student unless it's a student in like grade school that are older. But if a child is still showing interest in art, by their time they're 8 or 9, get them an alcohol set. Not this set. And I'm not talking about this personally. This is a nice set if they weren't lying on the package. I'm talking about water-based markers. By the time the kid is 8 or 9, the same price, maybe not as many colors, because honestly, no art student that young needs this many colors. This is just impressive at birthday parties and, at Christmas for your grandchildren. As I said, the case is really nice. I mean, if you buy these for your grandchildren and then take the case for your pencils, that's a pretty darn good idea. They're offering a 15% code. I have a problem with giving that code out. And although I told the company I would, I really don't want to sell these. Honestly, I don't want to put the link in the description. I'm not recommending these. They're found all over. The same markers, same manufacturer that produced these markers are found all over Amazon. It's not that I'm not appreciative of these markers, but I have my name, which I care about a little bit more. And I don't want somebody to buy it from me and then come back with, you didn't say it was like this. I'm telling you the truth. Now, we're going to take a look at these markers and we're going to take a look at markers in general so that I can educate you on what these markers do, what watercolor markers do, what alcohol markers do, so that you know, as a consumer, the difference. I'm going to sacrifice one of my good paper, getting out a good sheet, And this is the Bristol Vellum and by Strathmore. I don't do this for anybody. This was meant for markers and what professionals would use. So we're going to get out a nice little piece of this. It's nice and thick and heavy, good quality. And now let's do some things. I'm going to just pull random colors out because it doesn't matter. They're all the same as far as I'm concerned in here. Now, the marker. It goes down very smoothly. I give them that. One layer is very smooth. I'm going to put another layer under it. Now we're going to talk about the blending. And this is not specifically this set, okay? It's all water markers. When you go to blend a water marker, suddenly what you're going to find, look closely, all these little dots on the page, and they come up really quickly. Okay, that's frayed marker. That's frayed paper. That's what water markers do to paper. It damages them. It's one of the reasons I didn't include water markers in my lay down the color video, how I lay down color. It's because I wouldn't put this into a art piece that I'm using. I would never put this in. It's not the same as alcohol markers. Now, if you put in more than 2 colors, that's not odd to put down more than 2 colors. So let's get a darker green in here. I want you to take a look right there, right there, right there. This is all frayed up paper. Now I want to show you the difference. As far as watercolor, okay? Now we're talking about watercolor. This is advertised as a watercolor. Let's put some water down. Nice. All of this. See that? I'm not talking about the lumpy water part. I'm talking about all these frayed areas, especially here. That's your damaged paper. Now, there is another product that is available on the market. I know, you guys know, I like Color It, but it happens to be the only one of these types that I have. So I can only show you Color It. But I'm not meaning to put this up against just Color It. These are the markers that you want to look for. These are called watercolor brush pens, which are different than the dual tip marker pens. 2 different products. These have, now mine are a little bit worn. For a hint, I use them a lot. That's why my markers are worn. I got these in December. I've used them a lot. And I was given this as a gift. I didn't have to show this to you at all. Color It gave it to me as my Christmas gift. First of all, they have a needle-like tip. That was the first thing that totally impressed me about these. Look at that. You don't want to stab yourself with that. Well, actually you do, because they're really soft. Okay. Now mine are getting a little bit on the drier side. As I said, I've used them a lot. And these are sold with refills. You can refill these pens, which is nice. And then we've got the pink over here. Now I'm going to put 2 layers of the pink. it to dry a couple seconds. I'm going to put a third layer of pink. No frayed paper. Then I'm going to take my water, and that's what we call watercolor. Look at that beautiful release of pigment and the blend, the deep rich purple that it created. Like all watercolors, this is a watercolor marker. Remember, it will say brush pen, okay? It will look like this. There will be liquid in here. The tips will be needle fine. They sell these on Amazon. Different companies sell them. I just happen to have the color it one. Okay? So this is the difference between it. Now you're going to look at alcohol markers. And I'm going to get out a couple. So I'm going to use my Prismacolor. Here is alcohol. This dries faster, very vibrant. Dries faster than the water, does no damage to the paper. Okay, so here's the orange. Let's put a little bit of yellow. And they beautifully blend into a brighter version. The difference is with alcohol markers, they are a lot more translucent than water markers. Water-based markers. Translucency means you can add more and more on top of each other for blending. They are better quality than a water-based. They are a little bit more expensive, but you're going to get what you pay for. Any child or student that shows any sort of interest in manga, I know the kids love that, and the cartooning and all of it that the younger kids are into, if you want to set them on the right path, this is the marker that you should get, the alcohol marker. The watercolor brush pens are great for if you are doing watercolor, to add in a little bit more control of the color, blending beautifully. This is for children, ages 6 to 8. Anything before that, why are you giving markers to kids that are going to leave the caps off? And as a mother of way too many children, I can tell you that that's what happens to markers from day one. So, now I did not want to stop there. I want to give this company a fair shake. This company has its pros. The packaging is nice, and there's a lot of colors. Now let's take a look at how they perform. I wanted to test all the colors, so I pretty much got most of them in here in one way or another. Compulated it down to 60 seconds. You don't need to watch me drawing 9 cupcakes, but this was my test sheet for them. My impression of drawing with these is it was not difficult. I will say that the paper was damaged during this process. I was constantly picking off the pill of the tooth and the top part of the pulp from it. But in general, you can do art. It is a possibility to do art. It's just a little bit limiting. You can't go over. You have to do 2 layers, that's it, 2 layers, and you can get away with this as far as drawing goes without damaging too much. The colors are vibrant. I'll give them that. I've done this with Crayola. If you brought me any marker, I could have produced the same exact artwork. There was nothing that was screaming at me that these are the ones that I need to buy. These are the ones that are it. So, yeah, they do perform. They're difficult. If you are getting into art, buy a smaller alcohol set. You will be much happier than you will be with a large water-based set. My final thought, all water-based markers are water soluble. That is much different than it being a watercolor. Just like all pencils have some degree of solubility, but it doesn't make them a watercolor pencil. And with that, I will see you guys in my next video. Take care. Bye-bye.